Good morning. So today I'll start the next module. It is module 5. That is the last module in your syllabus. That is about canals. And the definition of the canal is a canal is an artificial channel. Generally, it is trapezoidal in shape and constructed on the ground to carry water to the fields, either from a river or a tank or a reservoir. So in your extensive survey project, you have carried out the alignment of canal that is from the new tank on either side, that is left bank canal and right bank canal. And typically a canal is an artificial channel, generally trapezoidal in shape and constructed on the ground to carry water to the fields, either from a river or a tank or a reservoir. Now this is the typical cross section of the canal. Now canal may be either in partial cutting and partial filling, and it can be in full cutting. So these are the two figures, and the third one shows the canal in section in filling only. Okay, so depending on the profile of the land, the canal can be either, it can be partially cutting or partially filling, or it can be either full cutting or it can be either full filling. Now this is the typical cross section of the canal. So generally it will be in trapezoidal shape, and this is the bed of the canal. So and on two sides generally a slope is provided. Slope is provided in the ratio 1:1, and sometimes here this figure shows the canal section in partial cutting and filling. And here these are the embankments, earthen embankments on both sides. You can see here these are the earthen embankments, and one of the sides of the earthen embankments, a service road will be generally provided for the inspection, for the purpose of inspection. So these are the earthen consolidated earthen bunds on both sides. So since the canal is in partial cutting and partial filling. Now here also you can see here the canal is in full cutting. So here a horizontal portion of the slope will be given for the inspection purpose, and this is known as the berm. And on both sides you have the earthen embankments and having a slope of 1.5:1 and 1.5:1 on either side. And these are the typical cross sections of the canal in partial cutting and partial filling. And you can see the full supply level of the canal. So about 0.3 meters, about 0.3 meters or 0.5 meters will be given as the freeboard. Below that you have the full supply level of the canal. So this is the water surface elevation of the canal, and this is the bed width of the canal, and the horizontal portions on the sloping side is called as the berm, and over which you have the consolidated earth on either side, so which are also called as the embankments or bank, or it may be also called as the spoil bank. So these are the typical cross sections of the canal. Now you can see here the canal which is in cutting. You can see here this is the full supply level of the canal, and about 0.3 to 0.5 meter is provided as a freeboard. And these are the earthen banks. So which is the canal is entirely in filling because it is the above ground level. On both sides you have the consolidated earthen banks, and which carries the water. And here in this case the bed end sides of the canal require permanent lining. Otherwise there are very chances of eroding the earthen banks on both sides. And here the canal is in partial cutting and partial filling. You can see here this portion you have cut, and on both sides you have this earthen embankment. So to maintain the full supply level in the canal, whatever the design full supply level has to be carried. So which depends on the whether the canal should be in cutting or canal in filling, or canal is in partial cutting and partial filling. Now sometimes a canal can be of the intermediate type, and the canal is called as a canal in partial cutting and partial filling. Sometimes in some cases a canal can be of the intermediate type, so it is called as the canal in partial cutting and partial filling. If the full supply level of a canal is below the natural ground surface, an open cut or an excavation is necessary to construct a canal, and this type of canal is called as the canal in cutting. So it is the natural cutting. So if the full supply level of the canal is above the existing ground level, then the canal is constructed by providing earthen banks on both sides. So these earthen banks are consolidated earthen banks, and the slope of which are riveted stone masonry. prevented by stone masonry in order to prevent the sliding or damage of the earthen dams. The canal is called a canal infilling. So these are the three figures which shows the canal in cutting, where the full supply level is below the ground level, and if the full supply level is above the ground level, then it will be in partial canal infilling. And here in some cases you need a cut also in the ground level, and in order to maintain the full supply level, you have to have two earthen embankments on the both sides. Now, so we know what is a canal. Canal is an artificial man-made structure on the ground to carry water from the reservoir or river to the agriculture field. So now we shall discuss the classification of canals. So canals based on the nature of source of supply. So based on the nature of source of supply, it can be a permanent canal. A permanent canal is one which draws water from the permanent source of supply. The canal in such cases is made as a regular graded canal, which has a fixed flow because you have the permanent source of water supply. It is provided with permanent regulation and distribution work. A permanent canal may also be a perennial canal or a non-perennial canal, depending on whether the source of supply of water is perennial or non-perennial. So depending on the classification based on source of supply, the first classification is permanent canal. So second one is inundation canal. An inundation canal is one which draws water from a river when the water level in the river is high or the river is in flood. So in some cases what will happen, especially during monsoon months, there will be a high stage of flow in the river. In such a case, some portion of the water is diverted from the river, which carries the water to the agricultural fields, and thereby it acts as a protective canal. So in case of heavy flood, some water can be diverted through this inundation canal so that the water level in the river may be reduced to greater some extent so that the adjacent sides of the land cannot be overlapped. So this is based on the inundation canal. An inundation canal is one which draws water from a river when the water level in the river is very high. So next, the classification based on the function of the canal. So first classification is based on the source of supply, and the second one is classification based on the function of the canal. So based on its function, it can be a feeder canal. A feeder canal is one constructed for the purpose of supplying water to two or more canals only, but not directly irrigating the field. So here it acts as a feeder to the other canals, whether it may be a minor canal or a branch canal or a water course. Mainly it feeds the water to the substrate. Feeder canal is constructed for the purpose of supplying water to two or more canals only, but not directly irrigating the field. Next is carrier canals. A carrier canal carries water from irrigating fields and also feeds the other canal for their supply or needs. Next is navigation canal. A canal serving for the purpose of inland navigation is called as navigation canal. And sometimes some canals are used for power generation. Hence it is called as power canal. A power canal supplies water to hydroelectric power generation plant for the generation of the electric power. So based on the function, so it can be a feeder canal, carrier canal, navigation canal, and power canal. Now these are some of the pictures which shows the typical cross section of the canal. So these are the side slopes, and that is the bed of the canal. So now water is flowing through the canal, and the full supply level, above which you have a freeboard. Now here you can see some canals are used for the navigation purpose to transport goods from one place to the other place through canal system, so which is known as navigation canal. Now the third classification is classification based on the discharge and its relative importance in a given network of canal. So based on discharge, the canals can be classified as main canal. So a main canal is the principal canal in a network of irrigation canals. It directly takes off from a river or a reservoir or a feeder canal. It has large capacity and supplies water to branch canals and even to major distributors. So main canals carry heavy discharge of the order of about 25 to 30 cumulates, which cannot be directly utilized for agriculture purpose. It has to be diverted to small canals or the feeder canals. Next is the branch canal. Branch canal takes off from a main canal on either side at regular intervals, and they carry discharge of about 5 cubic, so which is less than the main discharge in the main canal, and are not usually used to directly irrigate the field because it also carries heavy discharge of the order of 5 cubics. Next is major distributary. A major distributary takes off from a branch canal or main canal. It has a discharge capacity of about 0.25 to 5 cubics. So they are used for direct irrigation and also to feed minor distributaries. So next classification is minor distributaries. So these minor distributaries are canals taking off from the branch canal and major distributaries. They carry a discharge less than 0.25 cubics. And these canals supply water to the field channel. So finally from the field channel, water is directly supplied to the crop. So next, water course or field channel. A water course or field channel takes off from the either major or minor distributaries or branch canal. They are constructed and maintained by the cultivators and farmers. The other canals are constructed and maintained by the government or the Command Area Development Authority. Only these field channels and water courses are maintained by the farmers, whereas the main canal, branch canal, major distributaries and minor distributaries are controlled by the government agency. Next is the classification based on its alignment. So it can be called as a ridge canal or watershed canal, so which is a natural canal. A ridge canal or watershed canal is one which runs along the ridge or watershed line, that is from the boundary of the watershed. It can irrigate the fields on both sides. So in case of ridge canal, the necessity of cross drainage works does not arise as the canal is not intercepted by the natural streams or drain. So whatever the canals that runs through the watershed, which has a natural slope, so hence it is called as a ridge canal or watershed canal. So next is the contour canal. A contour canal is one which is aligned nearly parallel to the contours of that particular area, and these canals can irrigate the land only on one side, because in case of contour canals you have a hill on the left side and the steep valley in the other side. So hence it is a single bank canal. And hence it can irrigate only land on one of its side. That is on the valley side it can irrigate. On the ridge side it is not able to irrigate the land. So the ground level on one side is higher than, hence the bank is on the higher side may not be necessary. It forms as a natural bank. A contour canal may be intercepted by small natural streams or drains, and hence you require the cross drainage works. So these cross drainage works are nothing but the culverts. Whenever the natural river or the contour intersects a natural stream, then the canal has to intersect this natural stream. So in such a case, the water is carried on the other side by means of these cross drainage works. So next is the side slope canal. A side slope canal is one on which it is aligned right angles to the contour of the particular area. Here the contour canal follows the contour of that particular canal, whereas the side slope canal, which is perpendicular to the contour of that particular area. So it is a canal running between the ridge and a valley. So this canal is not intercepted by the streams, and hence no cross drainage works may be essential. So this canal helps has steep bed slope, since the ground has steep slope in the direction of perpendicular to the contour of that particular area. So based on the canal alignment, it can be a ridge canal or watershed canal, and it can be a contour canal, and it can be a side slope canal. Now in these figures you can see the various types of classification of canal based on its alignment, whether it may be a watershed canal or main. So this figure shows the different types of canal based on its alignment. You can see here main canal. So these are the ridge canals, and you can see the side slope canal, so which is perpendicular to the contour of that particular area. And these are the canals which follows the contour of that particular area, so which can irrigate only one of its side. So next, the fifth classification is the classification based on the financial output. On the basis of financial output or the revenue from the canals are classified as productive canal. So a productive canal is one which is fully developed and earns enough revenue for its running and maintenance, and also recovers the cost of its initial investment. So here, this canal is basically constructed to earn revenue. Whatever the cost that has been invested, it will be taken back by charging nominal charges for the persons who use that water for its agriculture purpose. So it is essential. It is essential. The cost of its initial investment is recovered within 16 years of construction. So based on its financial output, it can be of productive canal. Next one is the productive. So based on its financial output, it can be a productive canal and protective canal. Now here you can see here, it is a protective canal. Here mainly the canal is constructed to protect the lands on either side. So especially in case of drought or famine, the same water can be used for the agriculture purpose. Next is the last classification is classification based on the soil through which they are constructed. So it can be an alluvial canal. Canals constructed in alluvial soil are known as alluvial canals. So alluvial soils are found in Indo-Gangetic plain of North India. So the alluvial soils can be easily scoured and deposited by water. Since it's an alluvial soil, so the beds and sides of the canal is generally scoured and deposited in the water, so which is known as the silting of canals. Silting of canals. So the silting of canal mainly takes place in alluvial canals. Next is non-alluvial canals. Canals constructed through hard soil or disintegrated rock are called as non-alluvial canals. So such soils are usually found in central and southern parts of India. Now here the figure shows the alluvial and non-alluvial canals. Next is the classification based on the lining being provided. So some canals are unlined canals. An unlined canal is one which the bed and banks of the canal are made up of natural formation through which it is constructed. A protective lining of impervious material is not provided here. The velocity of flow is low such that the beds and banks are not scoured or eroded. So that's such canals are known as, which is natural canal. On the both sides and beds are not protected by any artificial material. So it is a natural one. So next is lined canal. The lined canal is one which is provided with a lining on impervious material on its banks and beds to prevent the seepage of water and also scouring of banks and the bed. And higher velocity of water can be allowed in the lined canals, and hence the cross-sectional area can be reduced. So this carries very less discharge, whereas in case of lined canals, it can carry more discharge because the sides and beds of the canals are protected. Now this is the figure shows about the unlined canal. Here you can see you have a natural formation on the sides as well as the bed. The other one is, you can see here, both on the sides and bottom, it is lined. So hence it carries discharge, and here the transit losses are very less. So hence the duty of irrigation water increases in case of lined canal. So next is the alignment of canal. So here some of the points to be considered before you take up the project work or the project proposal to align a canal in a particular area. So these are some of the precautions to be considered, or the points to be considered in aligning an irrigation canal. So an irrigation canal should